The sunlight hit Leo's messy hair as he tumbled out of bed, and for the first time in years, Jae-min felt completely at home watching him laugh. Sabrina's grandmother hummed along to the faint gospel radio, the melody weaving through the kitchen. Sabrina handed Leo his favorite breakfast, but the cereal bowl wobbled in his small hands, spilling milk across the counter. Jae-min grabbed a towel just in time, smiling at the chaos, their laughter filling the apartment. It was ordinary. It was fragile. And yet, in that simple morning, both of them realized how much had been missing. The stolen years, the stolen mornings. But Jae-min's phone buzzed insistently on the table, its screen flashing a name that promised disruption: his father. He didn't pick it up. A quiet tension settled over them. Something told Jae-min this ordinary morning could change in an instant. Subscribe now from wherever you're watching to be part of this journey. A story of families finding each other, love that refuses to be stolen, and moments that change everything. Part 2 delivers the long-awaited resolution, so if you haven't seen Part 1 yet, now's the perfect time to watch and see how it all began. The phone stopped buzzing. Jae-min set it face down on the counter without looking at it again. Leo was too busy soaking up the spilled milk with paper towels, his tongue sticking out in concentration the way it always did when he was focused, and Sabrina was watching both of them with an expression Jae-min couldn't fully read yet, something softer than the careful guardedness she'd carried for months, but not quite open either. Her grandmother moved through the kitchen refilling her tea, humming that same steady gospel melody, and the whole scene felt like something Jae-min had been trying to reach his entire adult life without knowing it had a name. It was just Saturday morning. Just breakfast. Just a family existing in the same small space without performance or pressure. And it was enough. More than enough. Leo finished cleaning, stood up proudly, and announced, "I did it. No mess." Sabrina smiled. "Good job, baby." Jae-min ruffled Leo's hair without thinking, and Leo leaned into the touch naturally, the way children do when they trust the hand that reaches for them. That small gesture, Leo leaning in instead of pulling away, meant more to Jae-min than any empire he'd ever built. They spent the rest of the morning like that. Jae-min helped Leo with a drawing he was working on, some kind of dragon spaceship hybrid that made absolutely no logical sense but that Leo explained with complete seriousness. Sabrina worked through emails at the table, occasionally glancing up to watch them, and her grandmother sat in her chair by the window with her Bible open, reading and humming, the rhythm of her presence grounding the entire apartment in something older and steadier than any of them. The phone buzzed twice more. Both times, Jae-min ignored it. By mid-morning, Leo was bored with drawing and started pulling at Jae-min's sleeve. "Can we go to the park?" Sabrina looked up. "It's too hot out right now, baby. Maybe later this afternoon." Leo's face fell slightly, then brightened again almost immediately. "Oh, I forgot to tell you something." He turned to Jae-min, eyes wide with excitement. "We have family day at school next Friday. Everyone brings their family and we do activities and I get to show my classroom and there's a presentation thing where we talk about our families." He paused, suddenly a little shyer. "Can you come?" The question was so simple, so direct, and it carried the weight of every moment Jae-min had missed and every fear that he might still disappear. Jae-min crouched down so he was eye level with Leo. "Yes," he said. "I'll be there." Leo's face lit up completely. "Really? Really? And Mama too?" Leo looked at Sabrina. She nodded, her throat tight. "Yes, baby. I'll be there too. And Grandma." Leo turned to his great-grandmother, who smiled gently. "If you want me there, I'll come." Leo's grin stretched so wide it looked like it might break his face. This is going to be the best family day ever. He ran off to his room to find something, leaving the three adults sitting in the kitchen with the full emotional weight of what had just been agreed to. Sabrina looked at Jae-min. "You don't have to if I want to," Jae-min said immediately. "I'll be there. I'll clear whatever I need to clear." Her grandmother watched him over the rim of her teacup, assessing, always assessing. But she didn't say anything. She just returned to her humming. The days leading up to Family Day moved quickly. Jae-min rearranged meetings, postponed a trip to Seoul that his second-in-command had been pressing him about, and made it clear to everyone in his organization that Friday was not negotiable. Sung-ho raised an eyebrow when Jae-min explained why. A school event. Yes. For your son. Yes. Sung-ho nodded slowly. Understood. He didn't ask anything else, but Jae-min could see the shift in how his people looked at him now. Not weaker, exactly, but different. More human. Less untouchable. He wasn't sure yet if that was a good thing or a dangerous one, but he knew he didn't care enough to change course. Leo and Sabrina mattered more than perception. Thursday night, the evening before Family Day, Jae-min stayed for dinner at Sabrina's apartment. It had become a routine now, 2 or 3 times a week, and her grandmother had stopped watching him like he might steal the silverware. She still wasn't warm exactly, but she included him in conversations now, asked him to pass things at the table, poured him tea without being asked. Small gestures. But in this house, small gestures carried the weight of acceptance. After dinner, Leo was drawing at the coffee table and Sabrina was washing dishes and Jae-min was drying them beside her, and for a moment it was so ordinary and so complete that neither of them spoke. They just existed in the rhythm of it. Then Sabrina said quietly, "Thank you for tomorrow." Jae-min set down the plate he was drying. "You don't need to thank me for showing up." "I do though," Sabrina said. "Because 6 years ago, I didn't think this would ever happen. And now it is. And I don't take that for granted." Jae-min looked at her. Really looked at her, the way he used to when they were younger and he thought they had all the time in the world. "Neither do I," he said. She held his gaze for a moment longer than necessary, and something passed between them that wasn't quite forgiveness and wasn't quite trust but was maybe the beginning of both. Friday arrived. Jae-min picked them up at 9:30 in a car with no security detail visible, just him driving, dressed in dark jeans and a simple shirt, looking more like a regular father than a man who commanded an empire. He stepped out first and walked around to open the door for them, a quiet, instinctive gesture that made Sabrina pause for a second before she slipped out. Sabrina's grandmother did not follow them. She had insisted on staying home, saying her old legs did not need school corridors, and that someone should keep the house warm for when they returned. Leo bounced in the back seat the entire drive, chattering about his classroom and his teacher and the project he was going to show everyone. Sabrina sat in the passenger seat, one hand resting on the door handle, the other in her lap, and Jae-min could feel the tension radiating off her even though she smiled and nodded at everything Leo said. He reached over briefly, his hand covering hers for just a second, not a claim, just a reassurance, and she exhaled quietly. When they arrived at the school, the parking lot was already filling with families. Parents, grandparents, siblings, all moving toward the main entrance in clusters of easy familiarity. Jae-min felt suddenly, acutely out of place. He had walked into boardrooms full of hostile executives without flinching. He had negotiated deals that would make or break entire operations. But standing in an elementary school parking lot surrounded by balloon decorations and handmade signs, he had no idea what he was supposed to do. Sabrina saw it on his face. "Just follow Leo's lead," she said quietly. "He'll tell you what to do." Jae-min nodded. Leo grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the entrance, and Jae-min let himself be led. The school hall had been transformed into a celebration space, tables set up with student projects, a small stage at one end, families milling around talking and laughing. Leo dragged Jae-min and Sabrina from table to table, showing them everything with the kind of pride only a 6-year-old can muster. "This is my drawing of our family," Leo said, pointing to a crayon portrait taped to a poster board. Jae-min stopped. The drawing showed 4 figures. A woman with dark skin and a bright smile. A smaller boy in the middle. A tall man beside him. And an older woman off to the side with a cross necklace. Sabrina's breath caught. Leo had drawn Jae-min into the family without anyone telling him to. "That's you," Leo said, pointing at the tall figure. "And that's Mama. And that's me. And that's Grandma." He said it so simply, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Jae-min crouched down. "Can I keep this?" Leo looked uncertain. It's for the presentation. After the presentation, Jaemin clarified. Can I keep it after? Leo nodded. Okay. Other families moved around them, but in that moment, Jaemin felt like the only people in the room were him, Sabrina, Leo, and this crayon drawing that represented everything he'd almost lost forever. The presentation began an hour later. Each child stood on the small stage with their family and talked about who they were and what their family meant to them. Some kids were nervous. Some were silly. Some forgot their lines and their parents whispered cues from the audience. When it was Leo's turn, he walked up confidently. Jaemin and Sabrina stood beside him. Leo looked out at the room full of families and spoke clearly. This is my family. My mama, my grandma, and my dad. My dad wasn't here before, but he came back. And now he's here all the time. And he helps me with my drawings and he listens to my stories and he doesn't leave even when he's busy. That's what dads do. They come back. The simplicity of it broke Jaemin completely. He felt his throat close, felt his eyes burn, and he had to look down for a second to compose himself. When he looked back up, Leo was smiling at him like he'd just said the most normal thing in the world. The audience clapped. They moved off the stage. And as they walked back to their seats, Jaemin felt Sabrina's hand slip into his and squeeze once. When they sat down, she didn't let go immediately. The event continued. Games, food, laughter. Leo ran off to play with his classmates, leaving Jaemin and Sabrina sitting together at one of the long tables. He really loves you, Sabrina said quietly. I love him, Jaemin said. More than I knew it was possible to love someone I've only known for a few months. Sabrina looked at him. It doesn't feel like a few months, does it? No, Jaemin admitted. It feels like he's always been mine. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching Leo laugh with his friends across the room. Then Jaemin's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, intending to silence it, and saw his mother's name flashing across the screen. Not his father this time. His mother. He stared at it for a second too long. Sabrina noticed. You can take it if you need to. Jaemin shook his head. Not here. The phone kept ringing. He declined the call. Less than 10 seconds later, it rang again. Sabrina's expression shifted. Maybe you should. No, Jaemin said firmly. He declined it again and turned the phone completely off. But the damage was done. The lightness of the morning had fractured slightly, and both of them felt it. They stayed until the end of the event. Leo was exhausted and happy, talking non-stop on the drive home about everything that had happened. When they got back to the apartment, Leo ran straight to his great-grandmother, excitedly telling her everything about his day. She listened with a warm smile, pulled him into a tight hug, and kissed his forehead before he dashed off to his room to put his presentation materials away. After that, Sabrina's grandmother quietly excused herself to rest. That left Jaemin and Sabrina standing in the living room, the weight of those missed calls sitting between them. You should call her back, Sabrina said. Jaemin didn't want to. He wanted to stay in this day, in this fragile good thing they'd built. But he also knew Sabrina was right. I'll step outside, he said. He went out to the small apartment balcony, closed the door behind him, and turned his phone back on. 3 more missed calls. 2 voicemails. He dialed his mother's number. She picked up on the first ring. Jaemin. Her voice was tight, controlled. But underneath it, he heard something he didn't recognize immediately. Fear. What's wrong, he said. Your father collapsed. He's in the hospital. It's his heart. The doctors are running tests but, she paused. You need to come home. Jaemin closed his eyes. How serious is it? Serious enough that I'm calling you. Her voice cracked slightly on that sentence, and Jaemin realized with a strange shock that his mother was actually scared. Not performing concern. Actually afraid. They're saying he needs surgery. They don't know yet if... She stopped. Started again. You need to come home, Jaemin. He's asking for you. Jae-min didn't answer immediately. A familiar suspicion rose instead, hard and instinctive, the memory of past manipulations, of being summoned home for control. For a long moment he said nothing, then quietly ended the call and reached for his phone again, dialing his second-in-command in Seoul. The confirmation came within minutes. The hospital name, the doctor on duty, the guarded tone that meant it was real. A few seconds later, a short video arrived. His father lying motionless on a hospital bed, oxygen line in place, machines humming steadily around him. Jae-min watched it once, then again, his jaw tightening as the last trace of doubt drained away, and when he finally lowered the phone, his decision had already been made. Jae-min leaned against the balcony railing, the cool evening air pressing against his skin as Atlanta stretched wide and glowing beneath him. The city that had started to feel more like home than Seoul ever had. He stared at the skyline for a long moment before unlocking his phone and calling his mother back. She answered immediately. "I'll make arrangements," he said quietly, his voice steady now. "When?" she asked, urgency threading through the single word. "Soon." Jae-min, he could. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. He exhaled slowly, gripping the railing as if anchoring himself. "I understand. But I'm not leaving in the middle of the night. I'll come. But I'll do it properly." A long silence followed, heavy with everything unsaid. Then his mother spoke again. Then his mother said something that surprised him. "Is the boy with you?" Jaemin's hand tightened on the railing. "His name is Leo. And yes, I just came from his school event." Another silence. "I see. Do you?" Jae-min asked quietly. "Because I'm not sure you do. I'm not sure you understand what you cost me. What you cost him." "Jae-min, I'll come to Seoul," he said. "But not because you're demanding it. Because he's my father and he's ill. That's the only reason." He paused. "And when I come, we're going to have a conversation that should have happened 6 years ago." His mother didn't respond immediately. When she did, her voice was smaller. "All right." Jae-min ended the call. He stood on the balcony for several minutes, trying to sort through everything that had just happened. When he finally went back inside, Sabrina was sitting on the couch. She looked up immediately. "What happened?" He told her. All of it. His father's collapse, the hospital, the surgery, the expectation that he return immediately. Sabrina listened without interrupting. When he finished, she said quietly, "You should go. Soon. But not flying tonight." He sat down beside her. "I need to talk to Leo first. I need him to understand that I'm coming back." Sabrina nodded. "He needs to hear that from you." They sat together in the dim living room, the apartment quiet around them, and Jae-min felt the weight of two worlds pressing against each other, the one he'd inherited and the one he was trying to build. He knew he couldn't abandon either. But he also knew that how he navigated this moment would determine everything that came after. The next morning, Jae-min asked Leo if they could talk. Just the two of them. They went to the small park near the apartment, the same one where Jae-min and Sabrina had walked months ago when they were still figuring out if any of this was possible. Leo climbed onto the swing and Jae-min pushed him gently, and for a few minutes they didn't talk about anything serious. Just the wind and the sky and whether Leo thought he could swing high enough to touch the clouds. Then Jae-min slowed the swing and crouched down in front of Leo. "I need to tell you something," he said. Leo's expression changed immediately, that instinctive child radar that knows when something important is coming. "What?" "My father, your grandfather, is sick. He's in the hospital in Korea. And I need to go see him." Leo went very still. "Are you leaving?" "For a little while," Jae-min said carefully. "But I'm coming back." Leo's eyes filled with tears he was trying hard not to let fall. "You said you wouldn't leave." "I'm not leaving," Jae-min said gently. "I'm coming back." "What if you don't come back?" The question was small and terrified, and it shattered something in Jae-min's chest. He reached out and took Leo's hands in his. "I will always come back," he said. "Do you know why?" Leo shook his head, tears slipping down his cheeks now. Because you're my son. And being a father doesn't mean I'll never have to go anywhere. It means that no matter where I go, I will always come home to you. Every single time. Leo's lip trembled. Promise. I promise. Jae-min pulled him into a hug, and Leo clung to him the way children do when they're trying to hold on to something they're afraid of losing. They stayed like that for a long time, the swing creaking slightly in the breeze, the park empty around them. When Leo finally pulled back, he wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. Okay. Okay. Okay, Leo said, and his voice was steadier. But you have to come back soon. As soon as I can, Jae-min said. They walked back to the apartment hand in hand. And when Sabrina saw Leo's face, she knew Jae-min had done exactly what needed to be done. Jae-min left for Seoul 2 days later. The flight felt longer than it ever had before, and when he landed, the city felt colder, sharper, less forgiving than he remembered. His mother met him at the hospital. She looked older. Tired in a way he'd never seen her tired before. How is he? Jae-min asked. Stable. For now. The surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. They walked through sterile white hallways to his father's room. When Jae-min entered, his father was awake, sitting up slightly in the hospital bed, looking diminished in a way that shocked Jae-min more than he expected. His father had always been a presence, commanding, unshakable. Seeing him in a hospital gown with monitors beeping softly around him made him look suddenly, undeniably human. Jae-min, his father said. His voice was rough but steady. Father. Jae-min sat in the chair beside the bed. His mother stood near the door, watching them both. For a moment, no one spoke. Then his father said, I hear you've been busy in Atlanta. Jae-min's jaw tightened. Yes. Building something. Yes. His father studied him. With the woman. Her name is Sabrina. And the boy. His name is Leo. Your grandson. His father's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his eyes. Your mother told me. Did she tell you everything? Jae-min asked quietly. Did she tell you what she did 6 years ago? His mother stiffened near the door. His father glanced at her, then back at Jae-min. She told me enough. Jae-min leaned forward. Then you know that I have a son who grew up without me because of decisions that were made without my knowledge. You know that Sabrina raised him alone because your wife lied to her and tried to pay her off. And you know that I only found out about any of this because I happened to see them at a gala a few months ago. His father was silent for a long moment. Jae-min continued, I want you to say you were wrong. Both of you. I want you to acknowledge that you tried to control my life and it cost me 6 years without my son. His mother's voice came from the doorway, quiet and strained. We were trying to protect you. Jae-min turned to look at her. From what? From love. From having a family. From making a mistake, she said. Her composure was cracking now, her voice unsteady. From tying yourself to someone who didn't understand our world. She understood it better than you think, Jae-min said. She understood it well enough to walk away when she thought I didn't want her. She understood it well enough to refuse your money. She understood it well enough to raise our son with dignity and strength, and not once did she try to use him to get anything from this family. His mother looked away. His father watched them both, his expression unreadable. Then he said something that surprised Jae-min. I want to meet him. Jae-min blinked. What? The boy. Leo. I want to meet him. He paused. And his mother. Jae-min's mother turned sharply. You can't be serious. I'm dying, his father said bluntly. Or I might be. The surgery tomorrow isn't guaranteed. And if I'm going to die, I want to know my grandson. I want to see what kind of woman raised him. And I want to see what my son has built when we weren't looking. He looked at Jae-min. Bring them here. After the surgery. If I survive it. Jae-min sat back slowly. You're asking me to bring Sabrina and Leo to Seoul. I'm asking you to let me meet my family, his father said. The real one. Not the one we tried to build for you. For the first time in Jaemin's life, his father looked at him not as an heir or a disappointment or a responsibility, but as a man who had made his own choices and deserved to have them respected. Jaemin nodded slowly. All right, he said. If you survive the surgery, I'll bring them. The surgery took 9 hours. Jaemin sat in the hospital waiting room with his mother, neither of them speaking much, the silence between them heavy with years of unspoken things. Occasionally she would stand and pace, her hands clasped tightly in front of her, her face a careful mask that only cracked when she thought he wasn't looking. Jaemin watched her and realized, perhaps for the first time, that she was afraid. Not of losing control. Not of appearances. Just afraid of losing her husband. When the surgeon finally emerged, his expression was cautiously optimistic. The surgery had gone well. His father was stable. Recovery would take time, but the prognosis was good. His mother's knees nearly buckled with relief. Jaemin caught her elbow, steadying her, and she looked at him with something that might have been gratitude. He's going to be all right, the surgeon said. Jaemin exhaled a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. 2 days later, when his father was awake and coherent and the immediate danger had passed, Jaemin sat beside his hospital bed again. You meant what you said, Jaemin said. About meeting them. His father nodded slowly. I did. Then I need to ask you something first, Jaemin said. Are you doing this because you're genuinely ready to accept them, or because you think you're dying and you want to clear your conscience before you go? His father considered the question seriously. Both, maybe, he said finally. But mostly the first. I've spent my whole life building something I thought mattered. And now I'm lying in this bed realizing that none of it matters if my son can't look at me without resentment. He paused. I want to know the boy. I want to know the woman who raised him. And I want to know if it's possible to undo some of the damage we caused. Jaemin studied his father's face, looking for dishonesty or manipulation, and found only exhaustion and something that looked uncomfortably close to regret. All right, Jaemin said. I'll bring them. But if you hurt them, if either of you say one thing that makes Leo feel less than, or makes Sabrina feel unwelcome, I will walk out of this hospital and you will never see any of us again. His father met his eyes. Understood. Jaemin called Sabrina that night. It was morning in Atlanta, and he could hear Leo's voice in the background asking if that was his dad on the phone. It's me, Jaemin said when Sabrina answered. How is he? She asked. He's going to be okay. The surgery went well. That's good, Sabrina said, and she meant it. Despite everything his parents had done, she didn't wish harm on them. There's something else, Jaemin said. He told her about his father's request. About wanting to meet Leo and her. About coming to Seoul. Sabrina was quiet for a long time. You want us to come to Korea, she said finally. I know it's a lot to ask. It's not about it being a lot, Sabrina interrupted gently. It's about whether it's safe. For Leo. Emotionally. I won't let them hurt him, Jaemin said. I promise you that. But can you promise me they won't try? Sabrina asked. Can you promise me your mother won't look at him and see something she wants to fix or control or, her voice caught slightly. I can't put him through that, Jaemin. He's 6 years old. He doesn't understand why anyone wouldn't love him exactly as he is. I know, Jaemin said quietly. And I can't promise they'll be perfect. But I can promise I'll be there. Every second. And the moment it becomes harmful, we leave. No questions. No guilt. Sabrina was silent. He could hear her breathing, could imagine her standing with the phone pressed to her ear, weighing his words against her fear. Let me think about it, she said finally. Okay. And let me talk to my grandmother. Of course. Jaemin. Yes. If we do this, Sabrina said, it's not for your parents. It's for Leo. So he can know his family. All of it. Even the complicated parts. I understand, Jae-min said. I'll call you tomorrow, Sabrina said. Then she ended the call. Sabrina did exactly what she said she would. She sat her grandmother down that evening after Leo was asleep and told her everything. The surgery, the request, the possibility of going to Seoul. Her grandmother listened without interrupting, her face unreadable, her hands folded in her lap. When Sabrina finished, her grandmother was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "What does your heart tell you?" "My heart tells me Leo deserves to know where he comes from," Sabrina said. "All of it. Not just my side. Not just the easy parts." "And what does your head tell you?" "My head tells me this could go very wrong very fast," Sabrina admitted. "That his mother could say something cruel. That his father could look at Leo and see a disappointment instead of a gift. That I could be walking my son into a situation that hurts him in ways I can't protect him from." Her grandmother nodded slowly. "Those are both true things." They sat together in the quiet apartment, gospel music playing softly from the radio, the sound that had been the soundtrack of Sabrina's entire life. "If you go," her grandmother said finally, "I'm going with you." Sabrina blinked. "Grandma, I'm not asking," her grandmother said firmly. "If my great-grandson is going halfway across the world to meet people who didn't want him before he was born, then I'm going to be there to make sure they understand exactly what kind of miracle they've been given a second chance at." Sabrina's eyes filled with tears. "Okay," she said. "Okay." They flew to Seoul 5 days later. Jae-min arranged everything. The flights, the accommodations, the security that would stay invisible but present. He met them at the airport with his second-in-command and driver. When Leo saw him coming through the arrival gate and broke away from Sabrina, running straight to him, Jae-min caught him, lifting him up, and Leo wrapped his arms around his neck, whispering, "You came back." "I told you I would," Jae-min said. Sabrina and her grandmother approached more slowly, and Jae-min's second-in-command and driver stepped forward, warmly welcoming them, ushering Sabrina, her grandmother, and Leo toward the car while collecting and loading their luggage with practiced efficiency. Jae-min set Leo down, greeted the women, and Sabrina noticed the exhaustion on his face, the weight of the last few days heavy on his shoulders. "How are you holding up?" she asked quietly. "Better now that you're here," he replied. As they drove through Seoul, Leo sat perched on Jae-min's lap in the back seat, small hands braced against the window as he stared out with bright, curious eyes at the vast city that was part of his heritage yet completely new to him. He kept turning to Jae-min with questions, if they could go out, if there were parks nearby, if he could see more, his excitement bubbling over until Sabrina gently reminded him that today was only for resting, and that he would have plenty of time to explore, soon leaving exploration for tomorrow. They stayed in a private residence Jae-min owned in a quiet part of the city, spacious, modern, with enough room that Sabrina and her grandmother could have their own space. That first night, they didn't go to the hospital. Jae-min wanted to give them time to adjust, to settle, to prepare. He also needed to prepare his parents. He went to the hospital alone that evening and found his mother sitting beside his father's bed. His father was out of intensive care now, recovering in a private suite that felt more like a hotel room than a hospital. "They're here," Jae-min said. His mother looked up sharply. "In Seoul?" "Yes." His father adjusted in the bed, his expression unreadable. "When will we meet them?" "Tomorrow," Jae-min said. "But before that happens, we need to be very clear about something." He looked at his mother directly. "You will treat Sabrina with respect. You will treat her grandmother with respect. And you will treat Leo like the gift he is. If you cannot do that, then this meeting doesn't happen." His mother's jaw tightened. "Jae-min, I'm not negotiating," Jae-min said. "You asked for this. I'm giving it to you. But it happens on my terms." His father spoke then, his voice still rough but steady. "We understand." His mother looked at her husband, then back at Jae-min. Something in her expression changed. Not warmth, not yet, but acknowledgement. "All right," she said quietly. The meeting was arranged for late morning the following day. Jae-min brought Sabrina, Leo, and her grandmother to the hospital, and they rode the elevator up in tense silence. Leo held both Jaemin's hand and Sabrina's, sensing the weight of what was about to happen even if he didn't fully understand it. When they entered the hospital suite, Jaemin's parents were waiting. His father was still in bed but sitting up, looking stronger than he had days before. His mother stood near the window, her posture perfect, her expression carefully composed. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Leo, in the way only children can, broke the tension completely. He walked right up to the bed, looked at Jaemin's father with open curiosity, and said, "Are you my grandpa?" Jaemin's father blinked, clearly not expecting such directness. Then, slowly, he smiled. "Yes," he said. "I am." "You look like my dad," Leo observed. "Does that mean I'll look like you when I'm old?" A surprised laugh escaped Jaemin's father. Small, unexpected, genuine. "Maybe," he said. "Are you feeling better?" Leo asked. "Appa said you were very sick." "I am feeling better," he said. "Thank you for asking." Leo nodded seriously. Then he turned to Jaemin's mother. "Are you my grandma?" She looked down at him, and for the first time since Jaemin had returned to Seoul, her composure cracked. She stared at this small boy with her son's nose and her husband's determination and something entirely his own. An openness, a lightness, and she realized with sudden painful clarity what she had tried to erase 6 years ago. "Yes," she said, her voice unsteady. "I am." Leo smiled. "Cool. I never had grandparents before. Just my great-grandma." He gestured toward Sabrina's grandmother, who stood near the door watching all of this with sharp, assessing eyes. "That's Grandma right. She makes the best pancakes." Sabrina's grandmother stepped forward then, her presence commanding despite her small frame. "I'm Gloria Wright," she said, her voice firm. "Sabrina's grandmother. Leo's great-grandmother. And the woman who helped raise that boy when your family decided he wasn't worth knowing." The room went very still. Jaemin's mother paled. His father met Gloria's gaze directly. "You have every right to be angry," he said quietly. "We made terrible mistakes. And we can't undo them. But we would like the chance to try to make amends." Gloria studied him for a long moment. "Amends aren't made with words," she said. "They're made with action. With time. With proof." "We understand," Jaemin's father said. Gloria nodded once. Then she looked at Jaemin's mother. "And you?" Jaemin's mother took a breath. She looked at Sabrina, who had been standing silently near the door, watching everything with guarded eyes. "I owe you an apology," Jaemin's mother said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "For what I said to you 6 years ago. For the lies I told. For the assumptions I made. For trying to pay you to disappear. For treating you like you were trying to trap my son instead of recognizing that you loved him." Sabrina's hands tightened at her sides. "I was afraid," Jaemin's mother continued. "Afraid of losing control. Afraid of what it would mean for our family, for our reputation, for the empire we'd built. And I let that fear turn me into someone cruel." She paused, and her voice broke slightly. "I'm sorry. I can't give you back the years I took. But I am truly, deeply sorry." The silence that followed was enormous. Sabrina looked at this woman who had destroyed her life 6 years ago and was now standing in a hospital room asking for forgiveness. Every instinct told her to refuse, to hold on to the anger, to protect herself. But then she looked at Leo, who was standing between his 2 grandparents looking confused by all the adult tension, and she thought about what she wanted him to learn from this moment. She took a slow breath. "I accept your apology," Sabrina said quietly. "Not because it erases anything. But because my son deserves to know his family. And because holding on to anger would only hurt him." Jaemin's mother's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. What followed was careful and slow. Over the next hour, Jaemin's parents asked questions. Gentle ones, respectful ones, about Leo's life, his interests, his personality. Leo answered with the unfiltered honesty of a 6-year-old, telling them about his drawings and his favorite foods and the way his mom always made sure he had clean clothes even when they didn't have much money. That last detail made Jaemin's mother close her eyes briefly, absorbing the weight of what Sabrina had endured alone. At one point, Leo climbed carefully onto the hospital bed and showed his grandfather the drawing he'd brought, the family portrait from the school presentation. Jaemin's father studied it for a long time. "This is beautiful," he said. "Can you add us? I want to keep it." Leo looked at Jaemin, who nodded. "Okay," Leo said. "But you have to hang it up." "I will," his grandfather promised. And somehow in that moment, something that had been broken for 6 years began, very slowly, to heal. Over the following days, the dynamics soften in small but meaningful ways. Jaemin's mother asked Sabrina if she could take her to tea, just the two of them, no pressure, no expectations. Sabrina agreed, cautiously. They sat in a quiet tea room in an upscale part of Seoul, and Jaemin's mother didn't perform. She didn't try to charm or manipulate. She just asked Sabrina about her life, about raising Leo, about what it had been like to do it alone. And when Sabrina told her, honestly without sugarcoating, about the fear and the exhaustion and the nights when she didn't know if she could keep going, Jaemin's mother listened. Really listened. "You're stronger than I gave you credit for," she said finally. Sabrina looked at her. "I didn't have a choice." "You did," Jaemin's mother said quietly. "You could have given up. You could have given him up. You could have taken the money I offered and walked away from all of this. But you didn't. You chose to fight for him. Alone. And you did it with dignity." She paused. "I was wrong about you. Completely wrong." Sabrina didn't know what to say to that, so she just nodded. Meanwhile, Jaemin's father, still recovering but growing stronger every day, spent time with Leo in ways that surprised everyone. He taught him simple Korean words. He told him stories about Jaemin as a boy, stories even Jaemin had forgotten. And when Leo asked him why he hadn't come to see him before, his grandfather answered honestly. "Because I made a mistake," he said. "I thought protecting my family meant keeping certain people out. But I was wrong. Family isn't about who you keep out. It's about who you let in." Leo considered this seriously. "So you're letting us in now?" "Yes," his grandfather said. "If you'll have us." Leo smiled. "Okay." 2 weeks after they arrived in Seoul, Jaemin's parents made a formal announcement. They were stepping back from active control of the family businesses. Jaemin would take full leadership, not as a burden, not as an obligation, but as an act of trust. They did it publicly, in front of the key members of the organization, and they made it clear that their son's family, all of his family including Sabrina and Leo, were to be respected and protected. It was a symbolic act, but it carried real weight. It meant that Sabrina and Leo were no longer outsiders. They were part of the legacy. More importantly, Jaemin's mother did something even more significant. She reached out to Sabrina privately and asked if there was anything she could do to make amends, not for appearances, but sincerely. Sabrina took time to think before answering. Then she said quietly, "There is one thing." Jaemin's mother waited. "I want Leo to grow up truly accepted," Sabrina said. "Not tolerated. Not treated like an outsider. I want him to stand in both worlds, yours and mine, without ever being made to feel he belongs less in either." There was a brief silence, heavy with meaning. Then Jaemin's mother nodded slowly. "You have my word," she said. "No one will ever make him feel small again. Not in this family." The trip to Seoul lasted 3 weeks in total. By the end of it, something fundamental had changed. They weren't a perfect family. There were still tensions, still moments of awkwardness, still old wounds that would take years to fully heal. But they were a family. A real one. Built not on obligation or expectation, but on choice. On the flight back to Atlanta, Leo's eyelids grew heavy, his small hand curling around Jaemin's arm as he drifted off, leaning his head against his shoulder, a tiny blanket tucked around him. Sabrina watched them together, her heart full in a way she hadn't thought possible 6 months ago. Her grandmother sat across the aisle, reading her Bible, and when she looked up and caught Sabrina's eye, she smiled. It was a small smile, but it carried everything. 2 weeks after returning from Seoul, Jae-min had quietly asked to speak with Sabrina's grandmother alone. They sat together at the living room after Leo had gone to bed, the apartment calm and warm around them. For a moment he seemed unusually unsure of himself, his hands resting still in front of him before he finally spoke. He told her he intended to propose to Sabrina, not impulsively, not out of obligation, but because he loved her deeply and wanted to spend his life earning back the trust he once broke. He promised he would protect her, respect her, and never again allow pride or family pressure to come between them. The old woman studied him for a long time, seeing the steadiness in his eyes that hadn't been there years ago. Then she reached across the table and placed her hand over his. "If you are asking whether you have my permission," she said softly, "you already do. Just don't make her carry pain alone again." Jae-min bowed his head slightly, his voice quiet but firm when he answered, "I won't." 3 days after, Jae-min asked Sabrina to marry him. He didn't do it with fanfare or grand gestures. He did it on a quiet evening in her apartment, after Leo had gone to bed, with just the two of them sitting on the couch in the dim light. "I know we've been rebuilding," he said. "And I know there's no rush. But I want you to know that this, us, isn't temporary for me. It never was." Sabrina looked at him. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want to marry you," Jae-min said simply. "Not because it's expected. Not because of Leo. But because I love you. Because I've always loved you. And because I want to spend the rest of my life proving that to you every single day." Sabrina's eyes filled. "Jae-min, you don't have to answer right now," he said quickly. Then, reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a slim, elegant ring, its diamond catching the soft glow of the lamp. With a steady hand, he slipped it onto her finger, his thumb brushing hers gently, lingering just long enough for the unspoken promise to settle between them. He lifted her hand and pressed a soft, reverent kiss onto her wrist, right over the delicate flower tattoo that had always been her root of strength. Sabrina reached for his hand. "Yes," she said. He blinked. "Yes. Yes," she repeated, smiling through tears. "I'll marry you." The wedding took place 3 weeks later. It wasn't a grand affair, just close family and a few trusted friends. They held it in a garden venue in Atlanta, with elements that honored both Sabrina's and Jae-min's cultures. Sabrina's grandmother walked her down the aisle. Jae-min's parents flew in from Seoul and sat in the front row beside her. And Leo, dressed in a tiny suit that made him look impossibly grown up, stood beside his father as the proudest little groomsman anyone had ever seen. When Jae-min and Sabrina exchanged vows, they didn't speak about destiny or fate. They spoke about choice. About choosing each other even when it was hard. About choosing to rebuild trust even when it seemed impossible. About choosing love not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. When they kissed, Leo cheered loudly, and everyone laughed. And for the first time in 6 years, Sabrina felt like the world had finally stopped holding its breath. The reception was small and warm. Sabrina's grandmother and Jae-min's mother sat together, talking quietly, their shared love for Leo bridging the gap that history had carved between them. Jae-min's father, still moving carefully after his surgery but stronger every day, held Leo on his lap and let him tell elaborate stories about dragons and spaceships. And Sabrina and Jae-min moved through it all together, greeting guests, cutting cake, dancing slowly while Leo tried to copy their moves and made everyone laugh. As the evening wound down and the last guests were leaving, the remaining family sat together at one long table. Sabrina and Jae-min, Leo between them, Sabrina's grandmother and Jae-min's parents on either side. They shared one last toast. Jae-min's father raised his glass. "To family," he said. "Not the family we planned, but the family we chose." "To family," they echoed. And in that moment, surrounded by people who had once been strangers and enemies but were now something deeper and more enduring, Sabrina understood something she hadn't 6 years ago. Love isn't about never breaking. It's about what you do with the broken pieces. Whether you walk away, or whether you gather them up, carefully, and build something new. She looked at Jae-min. At Leo. At her grandmother and his parents. At this strange, imperfect, beautiful family they had all chosen to become. And she knew, with absolute certainty, that they had chosen right. If this story stayed with you, if any part of it made you feel the weight of stolen years, the beauty of healing, or the power of love that refuses to give up, drop a comment below and tell me what hit hardest. And if you joined us just for part 2, you can always go back to part 1 to see how this journey began. Subscribe to be part of this family, wherever you're watching from, because the stories we share here aren't just entertainment. They're proof that even the most broken things can heal when we hold on, forgive, and choose love. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.